versa. आजकल तो WhatsApp हो गया है, but people would send love letters. But the original love letter was written by the goddess of fortune herself, Rukmini. And then Krishna wrote another one for the gopis. So Krishna deliberately performs all these sweet leelas, just like the one we are discussing today. So you will find adventure, love, conspiracy, drama, and whatnot in Krishna's leelas. Why does he do that? Because he knows we have this tendency to be attracted by these things. But when we are in the material world, people, to satisfy these tendencies, they go to cinema halls, they will read magazines, they will read newspapers, they will watch YouTube, Facebook, just to get entertained. But all this simply accumulates more and more dirt on the mirror of our mind. And therefore we are not able to see ourselves, who we are. And since we do not know who we are, we don't know what to do. And therefore people are wrongly engaged in this world. They are thinking that they are somebody else other than the part and parcel of God. So Krishna deliberately comes to this world and he performs these leelas. Okay, you want conspiracy? There is conspiracy here. Read about the Shamantak jewel. It's like a typical movie. Krishna's name is getting spoiled. He had to go and prove himself. And you find loving affairs, okay, read about the gopis. You want some grihastha type things, okay, read about my affairs with the queens at Dwarka. Your Satyabhama always tries to control me. And Krishna acts, as Srila Prabhupada says, as a hen-pecked husband. And how he is living with all the queens, simultaneously living in all the palaces, 16,108. It's not that each queen was getting a turn after maybe 2-3 years or 5 years. So Krishna was simultaneously with each and every queen. And therefore our scriptures have such immense wealth that if we start absorbing ourselves in our scriptures, books given by Srila Prabhupada and the other acharyas, we won't have any time for any other activity. And when we dovetail the same propensity to be entertained by the mundane conspiracies, scams, love affairs, in Krishna's service, we start hearing about Him, then our hearts become purified. And that is the reason Krishna performs all these things. Now, Rukmi is the villain. And a typical story, typical, you can say, movie, where the girl has fallen in love with the boy and the brother has to oppose. There have been so many movies like that. And then there is a fight. And then so many movies have been named like that. So Krishna comes and Rukmini, now she is just 16 years old. And her brother Rukmi, somehow, he is very best friends with Shishupal. Birds of a feather flock together. There is a saying, you tell me who you associate with and I will tell you who you are. So Rukmi was associating with a person like Shishupal. So you could imagine who was Rukmi. Association. Association is the key. And Shishupal is a person, since the time he was born, one senior devotee in the temple, Shyamanand Prabhu, was mentioning the first words that come out of his mouth. Generally, when you ask some mother or the father, okay, what did your child say when he started speaking? What was the first word? They will say mama or papa. The first words that came out of his mouth were gali, abuse for Krishna. So he was saturated with that kind of envy. And the best thing about Shishupal was he was totla. So, so it was funny also whenever he would speak. Ye dwalta batta, gwal ka bachcha. So, and they were very close friends. And Rukmi saw the good in Shishupal. So Bhagavatam says, people who are like dogs, hogs, camels and asses like to follow those who are dogs, hogs, camels and asses. जैसे हम खुद होते हैं वैसे ही लोग पसंद आते हैं हमको. And Rukmini was not very happy with this. She had given her heart to Krishna. Naturally, because there is that eternal love. She is the goddess of fortune. She may not remember. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is mentioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Mayapur, but before and after him and during his, around that time, many of his associates also appeared in Navadvip, Mayapur and in other areas of Bengal. And by the Lord's mercy, when the time came for Lord Chaitanya to start the Sankirtan movement, all of them suddenly felt inspired to go and settle down in Navadvip. None of them knew that they were his eternal associates, until Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself revealed during the Mahaprakash Leela. So even if somebody is the eternal associate of the Lord, but if the Lord doesn't want him to know that he or she is the eternal associate, he wouldn't know. So the Lord has a perfect timing. So Rukmini has natural love for Krishna. She's a young girl, she has never met Krishna. But how did she develop that love? And which is very instructive for all of us who are sadhakas, that many great sages, including Narad Muni, would visit her father's court and they would sing Krishna's glories, they would talk about Krishna, and she would also hear. And just by hearing, she developed that love. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karoyodaya. The best way to develop our love for Krishna is hearing and chanting. There are 9 limbs of bhakti. In those 9, 2 are the supreme most. Hearing and chanting. And between 2, chanting is the key. Chanting of the holy names. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, out of all the 9 limbs of bhakti, chanting of the holy names is the supreme. So, Rukmini is also playing a part in the Lord's Leela. And it's not that the Lord has to act the way he is acting here. That is why whatever he does is called Leela. What we do is called Karma. Whatever the Lord does is called Leela. Even when he is sleeping, it's called Shayan Leela. When he is eating, it's called Bhojan Leela. When he is swinging on a jhulan, it's called Jhulan Leela. Nauka Vihar Leela. We have eaten so many times. Your friend calls up, क्या कर रहे हो? भोजन लीला में हूँ. क्या कर रहा अभी शयन लीला से उठा हूँ. We never use this for ourselves. Ours is karma. We have to do that. But Krishna is complete. He doesn't have to. And therefore, out of pleasure, for the sake of pleasure, he is doing it. Therefore, it is Leela. So, Rukmini is a very beautiful girl. So many princes, so many kings wanted her hand in marriage. But she has given her heart to Krishna. She has developed that pure love. But she is not just like a village girl. There is a contrast between gopis and Rukmini. Gopis, they had love for Krishna, but they're living in that simple conservative village atmosphere. They wouldn't even look at Krishna, especially when they were amongst the elders. Even now, if you go to Vrindavan, the ladies walk around with a big ghungat, traditionally. So they would walk around like that. So like Srimati Radharani, one poet mentions Srimati Radharani is singing that I only get to look at Krishna with half of my eye. One eye I have to keep on my elders, one on the other Brajvasi, half on the other Brajvasis, and with only half a vision I am able to look at Krishna. But Rukmini is very bold, because belonging to a Kshatriya family, that same blood, nahi milega, le lenge, chhin ke le lenge. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate no. And if something gets into his head, he must have it. So Rukmini is born in a Kshatriya family, and she is not going to just let it go and just surrender. And therefore, she decides to write a letter to Krishna. 8 verses. And this episode is so famous, all the Bhagavad Saptas that happen in India, they have to have Rukmini Mangalam. But they are also stuck with 7 topics. I was mentioning 2 days back at somebody's house, I said people are doing Bhagavad Sapta, they are very stuck with that. Bhagavad Mahatmya, Dhruv, this, Krishna Janam, Rukmini, Sudama. I said Bhagavad has 18,000 verses. There are so many other episodes also, wo kab karenge log? So, and to send a letter like this, confidential letter, she has to find a very confidential person, a trustworthy person. And Brahmanas in those times were trustworthy, nobody would doubt them. She finds a nice Brahmana, pure-hearted. He goes and he gives the letter to Krishna. Boldly Rukmini has written. She says, you may feel I am so shameless, but what can I do? Which girl would not feel attracted to your qualities? She gives her reasons. And then she only gives the way out of this situation. She's very frank. If you don't come, I'll give up my body. She says the day before marriage, the girl goes to the Kuladevi temple. That time I would hardly have any accompaniment. I would just be with 1 or 2 sakhis. That time you come and kidnap me. So, as soon as Krishna reads that letter, he tells Daruka, keep my chariot ready. And he takes the Brahman with him and they go to Saurashtra, Vidarbha. In one night, the horses cover almost 1,000 miles and they reach Kundinapur on the outskirts of the capital of Maharaj. What was his name? Bhishmak. And when he hears that Krishna and Balaram have come, because Balaram also follows, he sees Krishna akele ja rahe hain, let me also follow with the army, even if there is some danger. And Bhishmaka wanted Rukmini to get married to Krishna, but he couldn't say anything in front of his son, Rukmi. So he was under pressure. But finally when he hears Krishna and Balaram have come, he comes out, welcomes them. And Rukmini on the other side is very anxious. Tomorrow is the day. That's the only chance. And Krishna has not come, nor has the Brahmana arrived. And Krishna, he cannot see his devotees in distress. He can never see devotees in distress. And he understands the state of Rukmini's mind. And therefore, he sends that Brahmana with a message that don't worry, Krishna has arrived and he will certainly take you away as per the plan. When that Brahmana comes, Rukmini sees that Brahmana and she feels so happy. And when that Brahmana gives the message, Rukmini is so happy that she doesn't know what to give. Now there was a system in our Vedic culture. It's like gratitude, which is diminishing day by day in Kali Yuga. One of the qualities which is diminishing is gratitude. If somebody does something for us, makes us happy, we must do something in return. So there was a tradition, if somebody brings a good news, the person would give him some gift. When Krishna is born, the news comes to Nanda Baba, he takes out a very valuable necklace and he gives it to the maid who brings the news. So always that was the custom, giving some gift. But Rukmini was so happy, She didn't know what to offer in exchange because this was the best news. She couldn't give anything which could equal the happiness that this news had brought her. And therefore, all that she does is simply offers her full prostrated obeisances to the Brahmana. And it is explained as soon as she did that, that Brahmana became the recipient of all types of prosperity eternally. Because the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is offering everything. And next morning, as per the plan, Rukmini goes with her Sakhis, with her mother, to the temple. And it was like a funny scene. Rukmini is going for a ritual with her few Sakhis, and the elderly ladies, the Brahmana ladies, were inside the temple to chant the Vedic mantras. It was a ladies' affair. But all the kings of the world who had come to attend the marriage, they had lined up to see Rukmini. It's like an actress coming and all the people just line up, all the streets. Unka koi kaam nahi tha udhar. It was a ladies' affair. Brahmana ladies inside the temple, outside, her mother accompanied by a few Sakhis, and they were supposed to go and do some puja. But all the kings, they just wanted to have a glimpse of Rukmini. So, what is happening in Kali Yuga was happening in Dwapar also. Just that the setting has changed. Because it was the end of Dwapar, degradation starts taking place towards the end of Dwapar. And the Mahabharata mentions Kali and Dwapar, they are very close friends. The devatas of yugas, the devata of Dwapar Yuga is Dwapar, his name is Dwapar. Devata of Kali Yuga, his name is Kali. And they are very close friends. And dono mein Kali is the worst. Without any reason, he will try to create dissension, quarrel, disagreement, problems in people's lives. If you want to understand how and why, there's no reason. But deliberately he will try to create miseries in people's life. And the classic example is in the Mahabharata. If you read the story of Nala and Damayanti, poor couple, they are in love with each other, and he creates so much misery for them. So, same situation we found. The kings were just standing, they were doing tapasya kind of, they were standing there for hours maybe, waiting for her to come. And Rukmini comes, she goes inside, does the puja, the Brahmana ladies are chanting the verses. And suddenly, she takes the hand of one of her maids, Sakhis, comes out. And as she comes out, many princes who were looking at her just fell down, collapsed, literally fainted, seeing her beauty. They literally fainted. And she is not bothered about them. She is only focused on Krishna. She looks around with her, as if she is trying to adjust her hair. And suddenly with that, she looks around and she sees Krishna standing among the kings. And as soon as their eyes meet, Krishna comes forward, grabs her by the hand, puts her on the chariot and leaves immediately. Daruka was already there, instructed. And all the kings, they're like, they didn't even realize kya ho gaya, what happened. It was totally unheard of. Many of them had gathered because they had got the news that Krishna was around. He had arrived in Kundinapur. And they were thinking he might come and create dissension. That was one of the other reasons why they were standing with their armies, weapons. But they didn't expect that it would happen so fast. And suddenly they're like, finished. And Krishna is running away. And Balaram also takes over. Now they run behind Krishna. Jarasandha was there. All the villains were together. Jarasandha, Shishupal, and you can imagine Shishupal ka kya hal hua hoga. Because everything is set. Wedding cards had gone out. And he was just hoping, it was just few hours away before he was going to get married to Rukmini. And he was very happy, the happiest man in the world. And he must be feeling proud also. And everybody else is standing, and they are Shishupal's friends. Many of them also wanted to get married, but anyway, Shishupal is getting married. Hamara dost. And suddenly this happens. And Shishupal he becomes immobile. And some kings go to her, don't worry, hum sambhal lenge, you don't worry. He is too shocked to even say a word. And all of them follow, and Krishna and Balaram, they fight, the Yadu Vansh army is there, they destroy. And more warriors are coming, they are being killed. And finally, Jarasan and others, they say, why are we fighting on behalf of Shishupal? हम क्यों पंगा ले रहे हैं? उन दोनों का आपस में करने दो. So they leave. Shishupal is stuck. And now it is a matter of honor for Rukmini's brother, Rukmi. And he takes a vow. If I cannot bring my sister back, I will never enter the kingdom. So basically he had to show. He had to show off. And when you make a vow like this, at least for some time you become a hero in front of someone else. You may not be able to fulfill that vow, but at least thoda sa to herogiri ho jata hai. Or if I don't defeat Krishna and bring my sister back, I will never enter this kingdom again. So for some time, oh wow, glory to our Rukmi. And he goes and fights. But Krishna is known as Achyuta. Achyuta means one who never falls from his position. That means he can never be defeated. He never falls down from the position of being God. So he can never be defeated. And he easily catches Rukmi. The fight takes place as these verses explain. And finally, Rukmini is, after all, the sister of Rukmi. And they have spent their childhood together. There is some affection. And ladies naturally have a very soft heart, compassion. So one of the qualities, the divine qualities. That's why between the mother and the father, you will always find the mother being more compassionate. They are naturally blessed with that quality. The men have their own qualities, women have their own, they have their own weaknesses, each one of them. But women are decorated with the quality of compassion. So she becomes very scared when Krishna takes out his sword to kill Rukmi. And therefore she just falls at Krishna's feet, pleading and requesting him to forgive her brother. This also shows the divinity of Rukmini's heart, because this was the same person who wanted to shatter her dreams, who wanted to marry her to an envious person like Shishupal, but she doesn't have any ill feelings towards Rukmi. This is one of the qualities of Krishna's devotees, non-enviousness. They are not ready to retaliate even against the wrongdoers. And one very important thing that comes out is shelter, taking shelter. So it is a custom that if somebody takes shelter, and if somebody has that divine quality and somebody has a pure heart, even if the enemy comes and takes shelter, he must be forgiven. And I'm sure Krishna wouldn't have killed Rukmi anyway, because he was related to Rukmini. Krishna has never ever, you can go through the pages of history, he has never ever killed anyone who is related to a devotee. And even if he has given them a better position in the spiritual world. So Banasur, Krishna killed so many demons, but Banasur he didn't kill, because Lord Shiva, he was a devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva intervenes. Krishna killed all the demons in Vrindavan, but Kaliya, who had become such a problem for the cows, for Krishna's cowherd friends, for the entire river Jamuna, for Vrindavan, such an envious person, Kaliya was forgiven. Why? Because he was related to the devotees. His wives were devotees. So Krishna did not kill him. He would have killed him easily in one go. Like Keshi came few seconds. Aristasur came few seconds. He spent 2 hours in the coils of Kaliya. Isn't it a blessing for Kaliya? Touching the body of Krishna for 2 hours. And then Krishna is dancing on his head, his hoods, for a long time. So Krishna made him a dancing floor. Those same 2 lotus feet which are worshipped by Brahma, Shiva and everyone else are dancing upon Kaliya's head. Those same 2 lotus feet, the water that comes out of those 2 lotus feet purifies all the 3 worlds. They are on Kaliya's hoods. Such mercy. Only and only because he was related to devotees. He was connected to devotees. And then when he became humble, his poison came out. He offered prayers to Krishna. He offered many gifts. And then greater mercy was given to Kaliya. And that was, he was made a carrier like Garuda. Why did Kaliya come to Yamuna in fear of Garuda? But now Kaliya has forever become a carrier for Krishna like Garuda. So Krishna gave Kaliya the same position as Garuda. Sometimes when Krishna has to go to Mathura, it is explained in the scriptures that he doesn't go with Akrura on a chariot. Sometimes in some millenniums, he rides on Kaliya through the Jamuna. So Kaliya has become an eternal carrier for Krishna. Just because he is connected to a devotee. Putana, because she was connected to a devotee. In her previous life, she was the sister of Maharaj Bali, Ratnamala. She had 2 desires. When she saw Vamanadev, he was so attractive, she wanted to feed him her milk, motherly affection. But when he took everything away from Vamanadev, she wanted to feed him poisoned milk and kill him. So Krishna noticed both the desires. In her next life, he gave her the opportunity to poison him, feed him, to feed him her milk and poisoned milk. But Krishna is Achyuta, he can't be killed. So he drank that poison, but he also drank her life here. And when she died in motherly affection for Krishna. And she was elevated to the spiritual world on the same level as Yashoda Mai and Devaki. So our greatest fortune is connection to devotees. Even if we cannot become devotees in our entire life, at least we stay connected to devotees. And then our success is guaranteed. 100%, 200%. And the scriptures, Krishna has said that one who says is my devotee is not actually my devotee. The devotee of my devotees is actually my devotee. Now that person may not be a devotee, but if he is serving a devotee, he is pleasing a devotee, that person will receive more mercy from Krishna, greater mercy from Krishna than the person who is directly serving. It's a fact. There is a verse in the Agni Purana which says there might be a doubt about the liberation of a person who is serving Krishna directly, but there is no doubt about the liberation of a person who is serving a devotee. That person may not be a devotee, doesn't matter. but he'll receive more mercy from Krishna. And therefore our greatest fortune is that we are connected to a devotee like Srila Prabhupada and his followers. Some connection is there. And that is our saving grace. His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he had a dream once. And he related this to Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, I had a dream. In my dream, I saw Lord Brahma was there and many other personalities, great personalities were there. All the devatas, they were standing. And Lord Brahma was chastising all of us, all your disciples. And he was saying, you are all so low-born, malichas, this, that. And he was chastising left and right. You have no qualification, no hope. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, I said, all right, but we are, that's okay, he said. But our Lord Brahma said, he chastised all the devatas, rishis, maharishis, they are standing, listening to Lord Brahma. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, he said, in my dream, I said, doesn't matter, but we are connected to Prabhupada. He said, as soon as I said that, even Lord Brahma, he had a big smile on his face, and all the other personalities, the rishis, maharishis, devatas, everyone started clapping loudly. And Lord Brahma said, yes, that is your only grace, that is your saving grace. Because you are connected to Prabhupada, all of you will be delivered. So that is our greatest hope. Whether we become devotees, whether we become 200%, 100%, 50% purified or 60%, doesn't matter. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada verified it. When he was talking to many of his disciples sitting in the audience, he said, so now all of you should try to become 100% pure in this very lifetime and go back to Godhead. So they were looking at Prabhupada, so 100% purified, because they know their background. Kahan se aa rahe hain? Prabhupada said, all right, 75%. Still they are looking at Prabhupada's face. Said 50%, they're again like very depressed. Prabhupada said, all right, don't worry. Just hold on to my dhoti. Because I have a key to the back door of Vaikuntha. That shows how confidential a position Srila Prabhupada holds in the spiritual world. Like, suppose it's a Janmashtami festival. Lakhs of people have come. And somebody is also standing in the queue, but he knows somebody from inside the temple. So you take that person from around and from the back door you give him darshan. We all do that, right? We all have our favorites and bring them secretly. So that means you are an inside person. You have a special place here. So Vaikuntha is not like a small temple. It's not like a hotel. It's not like a palace. It's a whole spiritual world. And only qualified people can enter. But Srila Prabhupada is saying, don't worry, I'll take you through the back door. That means even if you're not qualified, if you just stay connected to me, to my mission, I will give you entry into Vaikuntha. And it's a fact. His Holiness Kadambakanand Maharaj once had come to Chopati and he was talking about this point. He said, this is our greatest blessing. See, at the end of our life, he says, when we go back to the spiritual world, we'll be stopped at the gate. No, you have so much karma left, you have to go back, finish it, then you come back. You are not qualified to enter. And then someone will say, no, he's connected to Prabhupada. Oh, connected to Prabhupada? Let him go. Chaitanya Mangal mentions the Senapati Bhakta, Mora Senapati Bhakta, my commander-in-chief devotee. Where Lord Chaitanya is telling Narad Muni, I will appear in this form in Kali Yuga to deliver every living entity. But if some of the fools, they run away to the Western world, I will send my commander-in-chief devotee to bring them back. So that was done by Srila Prabhupada. And this Calcutta city, people coming from outside may not feel it. I mean those who are not devotees, but it is such a spiritual city. It has got that powerful spiritual vibe. Prabhupada's birthplace. Lord Chaitanya chose Kolkata city to send his eternal associate to give him birth in Kolkata. The same person who will spread Yuga Dharma. In every Yuga, the Lord appears to spread the Yuga Dharma, but this task was specially reserved for Srila Prabhupada. And only he knows the reasons why he chose Kolkata as his birthplace. But since he has chosen, so it is a very, very holy place, very special. And of course connected to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ji, connected to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and many other associates of Lord Chaitanya in and around Kolkata. They resided. Lord Chaitanya has come during his pilgrimage to this place. Ganga is close by. So when we start seeing Kolkata as a holy tirtha, the whole perspective changes. So whenever we come to Kolkata, we are not coming to a metropolitan city, we are coming to a holy place of pilgrimage. And whoever is living here is blessed. But to become more and more blessed, all we have to do is just become more and more involved in the mission, expanding and connecting more and more souls, because that was Srila Prabhupada's dream. That is why he was sent for. And he is very happy. There is a verse I read a long back, I think it was from the Agni Purana, where it is mentioned, now there are so many Vedic rituals mentioned in the scriptures, right? And those rituals have the power to fulfill every desire that we have. Every desire. So the result of performing all the rituals mentioned in the scriptures, the result of traveling to all the holy places within the creation. The holy places can purify us, give us Krishna in no time, right? The result of traveling to all the holy places, bathing in them, the result of studying all the Vedic literatures, the result of performing all kinds of Vedic rituals, the result of performing all kinds of charity, all kinds of tapasya, austerities, all combined together, a person gets simply by turning one person to Krishna. It's a verse from the Purana. इस सब का रिजल्ट एक साथ मिल जाता है उस व्यक्ति को जो एक आदमी को कृष्ण की तरफ मोड़ता है या कृष्ण से जोड़ता है. द रिजल्ट ऑफ ट्रैवलिंग टू ऑल द होली प्लेसेस, performing all kinds of charity, dan, dharam, tapasya, austerity, performing all kinds of Vedic rituals, studying all the scriptures, one gets all of it combined simply by turning one person to Krishna. So it is a very, very special place, and we are all fortunate that we are connected to Srila Prabhupada, and when we are connected to a devotee like him, we are serving in his mission, Krishna will surely shower his mercy upon us. Like Rukmi, because Rukmini prayed for him, so Krishna forgave him. He was not killed. And similarly, Srila Prabhupada has always had a desire. He always prayed for all of us. And he always had a desire that, he says, may my disciples make 1,000,000 times more advancement than me. May you become more advancement than me. May you do more than what I have done. He used to say, I was an old man at the age of 70. Still I could do this much. You are all young men, and imagine how much you can do. You have so much life left. So, we may not be perfect, but at least if we try to follow the perfect, follow their footsteps, that means we try within whatever capacity we have. We try our best. Definitely, Krishna will empower us more and more, because in spiritual life, the mercy comes not by achieving some result, but by simply effort, trying our best. And if we have tried our best, that itself is a success. Result is irrelevant. So the only hope is that whatever Srila Prabhupada and his followers that they have given us, we can preserve it, cherish it, and most importantly, share with others. As Srivas Thakur used to pray, may our family expand. And the mission is already accomplished. All we have to do is just become a part of it. Whatever the Lord has decided, it is bound to happen. But if we become a part, we will be blessed in the process. Thank you very much once again. And once again I thank Acharya Ratan Prabhu, Purushottam Goyal Prabhu, and all of you also for being so patient, tolerant, and serving here in this holy abode. As I said, everybody who is here is very fortunate because this has a very powerful spiritual legacy, this whole city. And a time will come where the whole city you will see becoming Krishna conscious. We can't avoid that. Nobody can stop that from happening. It's just time separating. It's got such powerful spiritual vibes, such spiritual places. It'll become bustling city with spiritual activity. And we hope and pray that this happens soon, sooner than expected. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody has any questions?
Sorry, I took 20 minutes extra. I didn't realize only. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
We have got the environmentality, all and Mayavadi also want to enjoy becoming one with God. So, what is the difference?
See, their enjoying mentality is very gross. They want to become one with God. That is a direct competition. That here at least we have that enjoying mentality. If you're talking as a devotee, but at least we are in the right process. And if you follow the process, it will go away. And you are performing devotional service, understanding Krishna is the Supreme, and we are engaging in His devotional service. So you are not trying to become one with Him. But as Srila Prabhupada writes, Mayavad is the last snare of Maya. You're trying to become Krishna. But here we might have enjoying mentality. What is it? You want to maybe eat some nice food or have some nice facility, a soft bed to lie down upon. This is not like, okay, that enjoying mentality is there, but that is the highest. So वहाँ पे hope थोड़ा कम होता है. You're directly trying to become one with Krishna. You're trying to take Krishna's position. But here we have that mentality, conditionings, and but we are in devotional service, so gradually it will go away. Engaging in devotional service itself means that we are accepting Krishna as the Supreme. If you didn't accept Him as the Supreme, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be doing it. But practicing Krishna consciousness is like switching off turning off the fan switch. Srila Prabhupada used to give this example. So the fan doesn't come to a halt immediately. Slowly, gradually, then it comes to the point where it's no longer moving. The same thing here. Have faith in the process. And the very fact that we are in Krishna consciousness and we are serving, you are chanting. They don't chant Krishna's names. Even if they are thinking I'm chanting my own name. Like one person visited one temple in the West. Ravindra Swarup Prabhu writes in one of his books, Krishna was being worshipped. Then he takes Prabhuji to one side of the room and he says, I am very happy to see the way you all are worshipping me here. Then another Mayavadi, one devotee met, not from ISKCON but in the temple. He went to Mayavadi Mutt in Puri and he said, you had Krishna deity? He said, oh, you all believe in oneness? Yes, but you are worshipping Krishna here. Who is worshipping Krishna? I am worshipping myself. ऐसा तो नहीं बोलते ना आप. So they are very gross. उनका बहुत clear understanding. हम लोग confused हैं थोड़ा. उनको उनका गोल पता है. To merge into that one Brahman and become one with God. बस वो गोल है. हम सब एक हैं. सब एक है, सब कुछ एक है. प्रभुपाद बोलते थे इंडिया में एक पत्थर खोदो एक मायावादी निकलता है. तो मुझे नहीं पता था, मैं बोला यार प्रभुपाद ने ऐसा क्यों बोला, बिकॉज आई सी सो मैनी एवरीबडी इज धार्मिक इन इंडिया. व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड प्रीचिंग इवन इन द मोस्ट ट्रेडिशनल फैमिलीज दे हैव द अंडरस्टैंडिंग, ओ सब तो एक ही है ना, आत्मा सो परमात्मा. तो इतना डीप रूटेड है ये कि सब एक ही है, जिसकी भी पूजा कर लो सब एक है, हमको भी एक होना है उनसे बस. सो दैट इज ऑफेंसिव. डायरेक्ट कंपटीशन कृष्णा डजंट लाइक कंपटीशन एंड दे कंसिडर कृष्णा's फॉर्म टू बी माया. अगर फॉर्म है भी ना, माया है और मैं ही वो हूँ, खुद को वर्शिप कर रहा हूँ बस. आई हैव बिकम वन विद हिम, आई हैव बिकम गॉड. तो हमारा कंडीशनिंग क्या है, थोड़ा एक रसगुल्ला खाना है, एक रसमलाई खाना है, थोड़ा महाप्रसाद चाहिए ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, तो दैट इज एटलीस्ट दैट इज़ नॉट एज बिग. सो ये कंडीशनिंग निकल जाएगा, बट दैट इज़ द हाइएस्ट काइंड ऑफ माया. Process works, so you just follow and don't worry about the conditionings. Our goal is not to focus on things that we are not supposed to do. Our goal should be to focus on things that we are supposed to do. Just keep following the process, don't worry, they will go away with time. समय के साथ सब हो जाएगा. हरे कृष्णा. Thank you. हरे कृष्णा. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री कोलकाता धाम की जय.